Wendy Clarke, Rent Guarantee Company. Firstly, you're one of these films in which we're catching up with you post-COVID. How resilient did you have to be during COVID?
Yeah, so it's good to see you, Michael. So during COVID, the landscape of lettings and estate agency changed. So they were told by the government that they had to close for 3 months, but we got deemed to be an essential service because we were helping families who were being made homeless at that point.
Essential service, because otherwise people during a pandemic could have been made homeless.
And they were being made homeless. And so because all the agents were closed, they had nowhere to go to find new properties. Same thing happened for landlords. So during COVID, it was our busiest time of year. We were offered over 1,000 properties by landlords across Harlow, Hertfordshire and North London. We weren't able to use all of those, but it was a time of growth for us.
But did you also get a feeling of satisfaction that you prevented a lot of people from being out in the street?
Yeah, so this is a reason for the business. It's something that's very close to my heart, being able to help people who, are vulnerable, and that there seems to be nobody else who they can turn to.
So here we are in May 2022. How are things now?
So May 2022, we are restructuring the company, we are rebranding, and we are ready to grow again. So although we grew by 94 properties last year, we're looking to double that again this year and beyond.
And why rebrand? Why did you make that decision?
So we're rebranding to make it simpler so that more people can find us. We're more accessible to more people.
And what about employment? Have you taken anybody else on? Or?
Yep, so we are, as I said, growing again. So we're just going through a recruitment drive at the moment, looking for people who align with our mission, vision and value, to provide a foundation for families that they can call home.
Because your philosophy is often about, right mental approach, isn't it? Things like that. So it's not necessarily about people's qualifications to come and work for you. It's having the right approach.
Yeah, so it's having the right mindset, because you can teach mindset, but you can't teach attitude. So it has to be a wanting to learn, wanting to be in a business that's in a rapid growth phase.
And a banner behind you talks about landlord stories, but a lot of landlords have challenges which become a real surprise. For example, suddenly, I know it's happened in Harlow, I believe the term is Section 20, is it? You can suddenly get bills and council's going to start repairing your property, and that's a real headache. How can you support and help them?
Yeah, so we've had a number of landlords come to us because of the Section 20. They want to know what it is that we can do to help support them on that, whether it's looking at increasing the rent, but we also offer internal refurbishments. So where they save money on that, they can invest back into their Section 20. But it has been a surprise, I believe, to a lot of landlords. A number of our landlords are now having to sell. I understand one of the Section 20s was over £30,000. So that's not something that they'd ever budgeted for in their business plan when they became investors and landlords.
What are the type of organisations that you deal with a lot? Do you deal with things like councils a lot? And how do you get on there,
Yeah, so we help support councils in their shortfall of council accommodation. So the business was started when they were knocking down 3 streets in Harlow, the Briars, behind Lower Meadow, and then they rebuilt a new development, but all of those families had to be relocated. And then from then, the business has grown into helping any family who is a local Harlow family. So we provide local homes for local people. So it's helped supporting any families who landlord may be selling. It's a relationship breakup, it's a bereavement, it's a job loss. All of these things can cause, a family to be potentially homeless. So we just source properties so they've got somewhere that they can call home. They're on the council waiting list, and their ultimate goal is to be placed in a council property, and our job is to help them sustain their tenancy and to move on into permanent housing.
And finally, you've got a real feel. Not only do you have a heart for business, but it feels sometimes you've got a real heart for Harlow and helping people.
Yeah, so I've lived in Harlow for 28 years. My 2 sons were brought up in Harlow. I now have 2 grandchildren. There's a lot of good stories going on in Harlow. I think we had a really good upbringing. They went to the local primary schools, secondary schools. I believe they went to the same secondary school as you, Michael. There's just connection between people. You're only 6 separations away from everyone that you need to know. And our conversation today has sort of brought that to the front.
So you've rebranded. What have you changed and why?
Okay, so we've rebranded because our company is now 8 years old. And just like what we offer landlords, which is to refresh, to modernise and to update their properties, we also are doing the same within the business. So we're updating, modernising and refreshing the website, the Facebook page, and we're changing from the rent guarantee company to TRGC. Makes it easier for people to find us and to connect with us.
Another thing that's also important is your commitment to the local community, and that comes out in several different ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, so not only are we supporting the families, we're also being able to refer them to the food bank, Bump to 5. We support another local charity which deals with domestic violence, and we're now working towards doing things for mindset, mental health issues. They're all things that are close to my heart.
You mentioned all that work you do, but you don't need to do that work, do you? With Bump to 5 food bank. So why do you do that?
Yeah, so it's just very close to my heart. So having been homeless myself at 16 and again as a single expectant mother at 17, I was always looking for someone to support, and I'm now in a position to be able to offer that back. So this has been a very important part in growing this business, has been able to offer more than just the place to call home. It's somewhere to catch your breath.
And does that straddle the 2 philosophies that you want to make sure that people are, what you do, but you want to make sure people are living in homes, not just houses?
Correct. Yeah. Someone needs the foundation of a home for their kids to be able to come home from school, to be able to cook a meal, so that they can just rebuild their lives. I was one of the ones, and I am the story of being homeless, being a single parent, and it's the journey about coming out the other side. Even if we, save one more person.